Hey guys and gals, today we have a Penn Battle 2 1000 that's just locked up, right? It doesn't move. I don't want to hit it too hard because I don't want to damage anything inside there. But rest assured it doesn't move. Spoke to the customer about this and he indicated that he took it apart and then hurriedly put it back together to bring it to me because when he opened it up, a couple of springs popped off and shot out somewhere and he couldn't find them, so we have to replace that. I'm assuming this is one of them. I'm not sure what the second spring is for, but it is probably for the anti-reverse at the top here. So I'm guessing these two springs need to be replaced, but we need to find out why it's locked up and not moving. We also know that the line roller is broken, or damaged, in the sense that it doesn't rotate, so it's frozen. But we know that the components are the inner part of this is a bushing, so that shouldn't be too difficult for me to break down and then service. So we're going to go through it today, see what needs to be replaced on this reel, and if the customer gives the go ahead, then we go ahead and change it out. You'll see that video as well. If not, then all you'll see is what's wrong with the reel, what it needs to be serviced, or what parts it needs to make it whole again. So let's start by taking the handle off, and then we'll open up that spool, remove that. We're not going to do any service on this reel today. We're just more of an evaluation. And then wait for the customer to say yay or nay to the service. So just removing that. That looks like it's out of order. So we found something possibly. Yeah, this should be, I'm pretty sure. Let's pop this up. Yeah, we have this kind of out of order, that's all. So I'm going to try to show you exactly how it should look versus the way it is. This should be there first. Then you have the click gear, I believe. I'm just going to double check and make sure. I'm wrong. Yeah, but that's my fault. You have the click gear first, and then you have this. And then these washers go on top. The metal one goes first, and then the plastic one goes next. So that's how it should look. I'm going to pop that off. I'm going to open these up. That's 3 screws on the outside. I don't believe there's one under here, but we're going to remove this rub guard anyhow. And there's no screw under there. And based on his other reel that I did, I'm going to suspect that when I open this up, there'll be quite a bit of grease inside. And that's fine if it is. But if that's the case, then I'll do the same thing that I did with this other one, which is I did an ultrasonic cleaning on it to try to get a lot of that stuff out of there. Note that there's a plastic washer that comes with those screws. And if you ever watch one of my battle videos, you'll know that if it's not there, don't even worry that much about it. I don't think it serves much of a purpose. Now I only see 2. I don't see 1 there, so fine. Alright, up with this. Alright, so based on what I'm seeing here, I don't think there's anything wrong in this section. I think he messed something up here. So that'll be what we're going to focus on. This was loose, but this is probably the wrong screw because it's not going all the way in. It is possible that, and it looks like the right screw. It is possible that he may have damaged some of these things also. That does go all the way in. Let's see why it was not going in all the way first. Let's check it out one more time. Let's just do it this way. Yeah, it stops right there. I think the screw is correct. I'm not gonna force it, but the fit feels proper. Of course, that could also be his doing. Yeah, this is kind of like where I got sidetracked, so there's apologies in place. Right there. Let's check it in the block and see. Am I missing a hole? Yeah, it stops right there. It could be the wrong screw. I don't think it is. But I don't think the thread in the shaft is messed up. So let's put a note for the shaft and for that screw there. Now, as we go along, we'll see if it's a different screw that should be there, and then kind of take it from there. So my numbers on these are: the shaft is 39. I'm making notes on the side over here if you can. There you go, so you can see my notes. 39. The block looked fine, it really did. The screw was 44. And I think that's all we're going to look at for that. So let's go ahead and open this up. And it is lefty-loosey to remove this one. I'm trying to support that so it doesn't rotate. It's starting to rotate a little bit now, and that what that means to me is that he just kind of smushed some stuff down together and it wasn't moving. So you have washers there that should not be there. I know that. No washers go there. This is one thick washer, probably goes on top of the stack up here. Not necessarily a terrible thing, but not ideal either. We're gonna open this up. We see a spring missing here and a spring missing for the AR clutch, or for the lever. So we know those two are missing. These screws are correct. And after we check this stuff, the last thing I'm going to check would be the main gear and see how that looks. Yeah, I mean, kind of like what I'm looking at here. I think he might be able to. We might be able to get this serviced. Like he'll be fine with the service charge. Let's pull this out first. Why is that not moving on me? No, I don't think this is supposed to be on top, but that's fine. It's stuck. Why is it stuck? It's a silly question, I think, but let's pop the clutch out. Yeah, I don't know what he did with this stuff. This looks kind of funky. Maybe just inverted the this piece right here. Yeah, he just inverted this, I think. Yeah, there we go. Should be this way, not that way. That's a much better way. But obviously that pinion gear is, or pinion stack is stuck in there, so we're gonna have to pop it out. The goal here is to save everything that we can versus destroying stuff. Yeah, that's frozen. I don't see anything that would be holding it in. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do for you guys is, I think it's just the bearing in the bottom that's frozen. Because this is moving around. So let's pull that stuff out so you can look at it and then see what we have to deal with. Let's get lucky. We're not going to get lucky. We're not going to get lucky. The reason I want to remove this is because I want to make doubly sure that what's being frozen or what's frozen inside there is just the pinion bearing and not something else just kind of wedged in there or something. We can get it to move from that side, but then we have issues on this side. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera, pull some stuff out, come back to you and show you what I'm doing. But it's not something I think you guys in general would be doing for yourself. Those of you that fix reels that watch these videos, then yeah, I think you would do this as well. Let's just try a vice grip first. I got a couple ways of doing these things. So rather than me jumping straight to the one that I think I need to use, let's try a couple different things first. So whenever I use a vice grip on pinion gears to try to yank them out, I make sure I put the flat sides of this onto the flat sides of the pinion gear. I don't want to damage the threads that are on there. So I try to go as low as I can, but I also go from flat to flat. Then I kind of just a little bit of rocking, and that didn't work out. So that's not going to work. We can't go from the bottom. So the next step I would take is screwing this on. I'm holding the bottom of the pinion gear so it doesn't move anywhere. Kind of like there. Then I'll take either a screwdriver. My favorite things to use are something like a pliers, but I'll show you this first. We can take a screwdriver and then just kind of use the leverage of this being under the nut and this resting against the frame to try to yank it up. And that works a lot, but you have to be careful that you don't crack this frame either. So let's grab the pliers. And the reason the pliers work well is because there's a lot of support from using this, because there's two sides doing it, not one. Kind of like that. And there we go. We popped it out. Problem is, we have the casing that's still stuck in there. So that's not good. But we can see that that bearing was what was frozen in there. You can look at that. So now all we have to do is work on getting this part out. And this is not so bad. It really isn't. Because if we need to, we can remove this piece, use some heat on this until that frees it up, and then we just yank it out. We're gonna try something else first, of course, because it's kind of how we do it. Let's stick this in here. And I want to make sure I'm getting these prongs under it, and I just did. It came right out. It wasn't even that stuck, so that was awesome. Okay, that was good news. So we didn't have to get more involved than I thought we did. So it looks like we're going to need a new clutch, but we're going to pull it out anyhow and see, just in case. I think at the very least we're going to need a bearing. Bearing's not frozen, but let's listen to it and see how it sounds. Let me turn this fan off. It feels in general and sounds okay. I think the locking up part was simply because he had this inverted. This cup being in the wrong direction caused everything that we were feeling in terms of locking the reel up. We're going to check the gears in a sec. So let's see with this clutch. See what the problem is. I have to kind of rotate that until it dropped in place. There's little channels inside there. Alright, so I'm going to stick the... Where'd it go? Where'd my thingy go? Here it is. I'm gonna stick this inside and then just kind of rotate my fingers and see how it feels. Because in all honesty, it looks, apart from the outside, it looks okay. Where's my lever? Put my lever on there. And what direction do I want it in? I can't get it in there. I wonder if we're missing components for this. Okay, let's try it now and see. Or maybe it's this way. Yes, that way. It feels like it's probably all right. It does. There's a little bit of slippage happening, but that could be because I don't have the lever all the way over, or have it constantly like that. I think we have to replace this just in case. So now we make a note of that, which would be, I think it's like 98. C. All right. Some bearings possibly, but I mean, I think overall it's probably gonna be fine. Let's clean this off and see how the gears look. And the one I like to check would be the main gear, because it's like a, you know, a hybrid kind of metal, so it has a tendency to start losing teeth with use. And let's see. Now, a good way to check these gears is not just by looking at them, which you can tell a lot, but also running your finger along it. So I'm going to look at it first, just give it a visual. And it looks, I see one little slight wear right there. The funny part is you have one tooth that's like that, and you can definitely feel it when you crank, but it doesn't, it's not a deal breaker. So let me run my finger along it and see what I feel. And what I can see with my eye, I don't feel with my finger, which is probably good news. I don't think we need to replace this gear, but we'll probably have one on hand just in case. I don't see any shims here, but it doesn't mean that it has to have shims. Alright, so I think what we have, I'll tell you this, and then you may see this, and then the rest of the video, or just this part, is 8 and 19. So what we have is, we have a shaft, we have the screw for the shaft, we have the anti-reverse clutch, some possible bearings, but we won't put that there. Possibly the main of the pinion gear. The reason the main of the pinion gear is because if you change the main gear, the best bet is to change the pinion gear as well, because the feel is it's better for the feel, is what I'm trying to say. So that's that. That's not too bad, and this can be refurbished. I think while I'm here, let me just show you that part, because that should be fairly straightforward. I'm going to open this up if I can. Cool. Now, sometimes what you'll see here, because this guy's a kayak fisherman, you'll see like a lot of salt come out from this area. I didn't see that in this case. His other reel had that, but this one didn't. So now it's essentially free. Once you unscrew it, it just kind of frees things up. But we're going to clean that stuff out. So what I would typically do is take that washer out of there. If I got to replace it, then I replace it, add some grease around there, Stick this bushing back on there, kind of like so. Stick that washer, or I'm sorry, that line roller back on. There's a thicker side, I think, based on what I'm seeing here. That thicker side of the line roller will be facing towards the bail wire. And then we just go ahead and put this back on. You have one washer and one plastic washer and one metal collar or washer under it. Then just stick that back in. That's it. Yeah. Alright guys, so if this is the end of the video, thank you all for watching. If you found the video useful, please hit the thumbs up button. If you appreciate content like this, absolutely, positively consider subscribing to the channel. And that's it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Oh, I did forget. We also need the springs, which are 5 and 97. My fault. So now that's a pretty much pretty complete list. Alright guys, thanks again.